Who is Commissioner Mark Busch? Welcome to another episode of You Can't Make This Shit Up with a special guest. I'm Joel Hoxley, your host, David Washington, and we'd like to introduce you to Casselberry Commissioner Mark Busch. How you doing today?
Hey guys, how you doing? And I appreciate you guys for having me on. I know, Joel, we've been talking about doing this for a little while. My schedule's been kind of challenging, but we got time today to do it. So it's be good to have a conversation with you guys about everything we're doing in the city, and about other things too.
Yeah, so you closed all the parks. I mean, I can't go play at Worst Park anymore. So you got to tell me, like, why, what's this project? I mean, all these parks being upgraded. Yeah. Talk to us.
Sure. So guys, back in 2020, in March of 2020, we had a bond referendum for our parks. It was a $24 million bond referendum. And basically it was to convert, or not convert, but to redo, to upgrade our existing parks, and also the creation of a new destination type park product. And that's our wheel park. And that's one that's broken ground at the same time. But Joel, you're correct. Yeah, Worst Park is in the process of being upgraded. Very exciting. The different type of amenities that we're going to be there, that we're going to offer to the people within the community of Casselberry and also the surrounding area. So very, very excited. And the voters overwhelmingly supported this referendum. Well over 65% of the people voted for it. So the people have spoken, and we are moving forward. We're probably a number of years into it. Right as it stands right now, we've completed two of the projects, and we've got two that are ongoing right now. So very excited to get these completed, and just to continue with one of our missions is to really make Casselberry one of the most walkable, active cities in Central Florida. Nice. So that is one of our goals, and we're well along the way.
Well, you also added an art museum. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's called the Casselberry Art House, and so Casselberry is a lot of people don't know this, and people are starting to find out as they visit the city of Casselberry and do a little more research around it. But the city of Casselberry has one of the most robust art communities in Central Florida, and we've always had a art complex. We have a sculpture house. We've had an art house that has been operating for quite some time. And part of the bond referendum was an extension of basically this complex, was the creation of an official gallery that can be used for different kinds of events, to really champion and really showcase all the spectacular pieces of art that are in our community. So we're really excited. It's open. We've had a number of events there, very successful, and we'll continue to do more events and continue to let know more people about it.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner, for joining us. It's my pleasure to introduce myself and get to meet you. This is awesome. I truly believe that the government that people should be, the level of government that people should be very concerned about is local government. Their city commissioners, their county commissioners, so forth and so on. And as city commissioner, what is it that are the kitchen table issues of your constituents?
Yes, the great, fantastic question. This comes up a lot. There's many different layers, especially as people get to know more about how our government is, basically set up in the United States with the federal government, along with state, county, and local municipalities, and the cities, the very nature of what a city does is well, I like to say when I'm talking to people, is very straightforward and very simple. Policing, ordinances, safety, roads, streets, anything that is evolved around infrastructure and the security and safety of the city will be done at the municipal level. As you guys know, vast majority, I would say in the state of Florida, and maybe you can add on this. I would say almost every single city is a nonpartisan race. So the focus really is on the actual workings of the city, and that's what we do here in the city of Casselberry. The city, so we are what's called a city manager strong city, where basically the city manager is the CEO of the organization. He runs the day-to-day. And what the commissioners do in Casselberry, we're kind of like the board of directors. We'll come in and we'll review ordinances, review different projects that are going on, and kind of put a blessing on it because we've got a pulse of what the people are asking for, and then help kind of guide them along the way. So we like to try to stay out of the day-to-day business as much as we can. Because we don't want to get in their way. If we've got really good people that work here and they do a fantastic job, we'll come in, when we're reviewing different things. But that's really one of the primary makeups of a municipality. Is pretty much the day-to-day business of every living, infrastructure and policing.
Well, you get to talk about your beautiful brand new police station that just opened.
Yeah.
I know it's not right there at City Hall anymore. So let's talk about that. That is a great project, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's well needed facility for our police department. It's been growing. The city of Casselberry.
Let me ask you one question in between that, though.
Sure.
Do they have to have a bowling ball when they go there?
They do. In fact, they have a complimentary bowling lane still there. No, just kidding.
Okay. I do. I just wanted people to know it's where the old bowling alley used to be. That's all.
That's where it is. It's basically off that Wilshire government complex across the street from the tag agency, basically. So the tax collector's office. So it was the property had come up years ago, and it just made sense for us to acquire it. We needed a new police station. Our current police station, which sits right in the Lake Concord Park complex, it's not a very, I would say in the grand scheme of things, it's not a very old building. It was built in the 90s, but the architecture was very flawed, and it's got a lot of issues. We've got foundation issues, we've got mold issues, and we're really growing out of it. So that was the decision, to build a new one that kind of set us up for the next 25 years here in the city as we continue to grow. It's got space for expansion, and then also it frees up the space on our Lake Concord complex to really to redevelop that area. It was a high-profile site on one of the main areas within the downtown area. It just makes sense to put the police station over with the government complexes, and we're very excited about it because that's one. I got to admit, and I'm very maybe I'm very not biased, but our police force does a fantastic job, and this is something that has truly been needed, and just helping to continue to do the great work they're doing here in the city.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a safe city.
Yeah,
we definitely have our Summer Boulevard is definitely patrolled correctly. You can see them there all the time. But you guys have a unique, and I'm going to talk partisan for just a second. You have a very interesting partisan lean on the board, and the way you guys are going about the city, right, is not typically Republican, but you do have a heavy Republican lean. So, opening up the city to be more urban. That's where I'm kind of going.
Yeah, I see what you mean, Joel. In fact, you know what? That's a great question, because I would say that all the different cities within, if you're within the basically the Tri-County area, if you're within Orange County, Seminole County, and now Lake and Polk is growing, we're in a very dense area, and it's very with how Florida is positioned. That's kind of another area, and Joel knows a little bit about my background when it comes to on the environmental side. I really studied a lot of this when I was in school. And Florida is very unique in the fact that we have density up through the middle of the state of Florida. And as farther you go out east and west, out in those areas, those are more the recharge areas for our very diverse freshwater systems.
Yes.
So uniqueness of Florida is that so many people want to come here because all many different reasons, whole different discussion. But we have a lot of people coming to Florida, and they're coming to these areas, and it's not stopping. In fact, it's picking up. So one of the challenges or one of the opportunities we see as an opportunity is not, everything's a challenge, but can lead into opportunity. The opportunity is how do you redevelop? Casselberry sits, we are the city between that has a major road that runs through it, which is 1792. We're right at the intersection of 436 and 1792. Very dense population. And as we're growing, there's not really any areas to grow east or west of us. So the mode is right now up and down the 1792 corridor is pretty much in a redevelopment era. And we're going to see this probably, I would say, for the next decade and on. All the open areas that you see when you drive up and down 1792, those will be redeveloped in one way or the other with multi-living facilities along with commercial properties. These are the new urban kind of complete street projects. That's an official name that's used. Where people can walk to get where they need to go, and that falls right in line with our, keeping Casselberry the most walkable city in Central Florida. And so we've actually, and Joel probably brought this question up because we've actually enacted ordinances now that will help potentially bring in the people we need to accomplish this and to redevelop it for the future. So we're very excited about this. We're very bullish on it. And Joel, I think you're right about the board. The board's pretty much, I would say, all together. We're all pretty much have a similar vision, because that vision really is coming from the people in Casselberry, the people that we talk to, what they're, we ask them, we ask a lot of questions. We're very involved in the community, and we're hearing what they're asking, and to really set us up for success for the future. This will be the next mode in the development of that 1792 corridor. We're going to see it from Sanford to Orlando. A lot of different people are talking about this, and where the opportunities are, and this is it. So we're in that mode right now, Joel. It's a great question.
I appreciate it, David.
Sure.
No, everything sounds phenomenal, and it sounds like you have a good understanding of what growth would mean to Casselberry and how it would affect the economy and, of course, the ecology of the area. Are there other environmental concerns that you have as a commissioner that you see some type of urgency for Casselberry?
Yeah, I think the areas that really need to be addressed, and you continue to see it coming up in not only in conversations around development all throughout Central Florida, but you will also hear it through the developers. And I guess it comes down to what is the approach. And to me, with me personally, the background that I have with Florida freshwater lake and river systems, studied it extensively. Back in the early 2000s, I sat on Orange County Soil and Water Conservation District.
Okay.
It's one thing that's it's an area that I'm passionate about, even as a conservative, because Florida has a very delicate ecosystem. The way to address this is to develop the areas that you can. So the areas in the city of Casselberry's case, we don't have a lot of open area that we can just go out there and put multifamily homes in.
Correct.
What we have to do is to redevelop the actual plots that exist. So if we do that, we're where they are. I don't see an issue, environmental issue, only if you continue to push out either farther east, if not even farther west, up into the different wetland areas that are up in the western section of Seminole County. So I think this is going to be the mode for even the cities that lie within the corridor. We'll probably be approaching the same way. We're all very environmental conscious, but this is a need because our populations are going up and it's not stopping.
So what do you think is your pride? What are you proudest of, and all the accomplishments you've had in your short time on the county commission. I mean, on the city commission.
City Commission, yeah, good question. You know, I've been on. This is my fifth year. Yeah, this is my going. Actually, yeah, this is my fifth year. Just almost completed my fifth year. So next year is my sixth year on the board. I would say another fantastic question, Joel. I think it's an accumulation of leadership that the city has had over the years. I put a lot of credit into the commissioners that kind of set the stage for where we are today. You know, I like to give credit where credit is due, and the city of Casselberry, as you guys know, and has a past, and that was just the very nature of the way the ordinance were set up in this area, you know, 30, 40 years ago. But over the years, the commissions here have had a vision of making Casselberry a very safe, family-oriented, very active community. And they've been addressing this over the years, and they've really have set the city up for success. So I really pat the back on the former commissioners that came before us. They really lined us up to be successful. And I say this a lot all the time, especially in meetings, when we have budget meetings. They really have made our job easy. And we have a vision. You know, the board that's the current board has a vision. I think it's the same vision as the former commissioners. And because we're very tied in with the community, we talk with a lot of people in the community. And I think that's also another one of the bigger successes that we have is that we are very active. We're out asking questions. We're out doing the work. And we listen to what people are asking for, and we implement it. So I think one of the greatest accomplishments with the board that I'm currently on really is the continuing to the upgrades of the parks. We've got that bond referendum through in 2020. That was a big deal. That allows us to build these destination products for people all throughout Central Florida. And we also were able to get the funding for a upgraded brand new utilities facility, which was another big deal for us because the one that we had was very antiquated, well over almost 30 years old, and we're expanding. So the employees are very happy about that. That's another big thing. We're very keen on making sure that we've got the right facilities and the right products in place for employees to keep them happy and keep them employed and keep them with the city. And then the other thing is the police station. The police station was another big lift, and we were able to get that done. And we've been able to do this without really dipping into our reserve funds. We are sitting on healthy reserve funds as we do these projects. And so, yeah, I would say that all of these different things that we've got going on, I would say all of these are just accomplishments. The previous board set us up. The city, our city planners have done a great job, and now it's just up to our job. It's up to us as the commission to review things and approve them and give it its blessing and put it on its way. So I think we've got one of maybe another area that we've been very successful at is kind of having a common voice. I think we don't have a lot of chaos with us currently on the board. We have difference of opinions. But as it stands right now, we've got pretty much a board that is pretty much everybody on the board is pretty much in the same idea of where the city is going and how we need to accomplish that. So I think that was a great question, but it also I'd like to tie it to the previous boards because they really set us up.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner.
So I kind of want to follow that same idea. If I'm brand new, I'm a brand new person to Casselberry. I find out I'm not just Casselberry by name. I'm actually in the city. How do I get my information? How do I know what's going on?
Sure. So there's many different ways. So first of all, we've got our website. Our website's got a lot of good information on there. We're on social media sites. Our clerk is very active on social media. We get information out pretty much all throughout the community as much as we can. There's also social media sites. There's What's Up Casselberry. There's other sites that deal. If you go into Facebook there's groups on Facebook that are a lot of Casselberry citizens. You can get good information from there. We're pretty much an open book here. You can reach out to to the city. You can get it through the website, get it through social media. You can even reach out to the commissioners. If you got a question, our cell phones are all public record. Our emails, you can email us anytime. You give us a call anytime if you got questions. So we're pretty much open. I would say that over the years, as the city grows, it's always a challenge to get as much information out to everybody as you can. But that's something that we've really been proactively working on since I've been on the board. We've also started live streaming our commission meetings online. So we were trying to make it as most accessible as to everybody. They can call us. That's the other thing. I love it. I love that we have all these things posted, and they can get in touch with us, and they can also email us if they got questions. So yeah, we're a very open book here in Casselberry.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's it. This has been
Look,
very informative.
I'm excited. So I need to ask this next question.
Sure.
How's mom, dad, and that beautiful wife of yours, and how are the dogs doing?
Thanks, Joel. The parents are doing well. Their dad just turned 83. My mom's 80. You've got the challenges. As they're getting older. They've moved closer to me, and in fact, they live across the street from me now. So I can kind of help them out. When they need. When anything comes up, I can pop over there and kind of keep an eye on them, and so that's been good. But their health is good, right. And they're still staying active. My father. Has been treasurer. It's one of his missions that he's loved to do. He's currently the treasurer of the Orthodox Church of America of the South. He's helping communities build churches, and he's doing God's mission. And my mom is still active. Joel, about the connections with Orange County. She still stays in touch. So they stay active. In fact, sometimes I say they're more I'm like my parents. Their schedules are busier than Liz and I.
At least they have access. At least she has access to the city hall now.
I know. I told the city manager, it's like, well, my mom's moving into Casselberry. It's like, but my mom, as you know, Joel, she has done so much work over in Orange County for the Pine Hills community, almost 40 years. She's very tenacious. Let's put it that way. And when she is bringing something up, she'll let people know. So you'll know when Virginia Busch is in your community.
So let me just share. If there's a street light out, and they were supposed to be up and running, she's going to be the one who's going to make sure. Hey. Those we paid for those. They should be there. Where are they? So that's how intense your mother is. So yes, very active, and that's what we're trying to promote. People just as active as that on the bottom of the ticket up.
Yeah, she will literally call me and say, "Hey, Mark, there's the bushes over here looking scruffy on this board." She will literally have a list when she calls me. So she even holds my feet to the fire, Joel. So yeah.
And then that wife and the dogs, how are they?
All doing well. Liz is doing well, and the dogs are just turned 1. They're doing fantastic. So we're very, very, very blessed. Very blessed.
So we're always looking for people to advertise here. So I'm just going to jokingly say this, but your wife has got a very unique profession. So she probably is taking on more clients. Could you kind of tell our audience, about your wife's work, because I think it's interesting.
Yeah. So my wife. Her professional career is her education professional career as a physical therapist, and just a real quick backstory of how she got where she is today. I would say I'm kind of biased. I'm the husband, but I know what kind of woman she is. She is just a fantastic leader. Straight out of college, she moved right up to lead PT in many different offices and was director of PT with a number of local pain clinics here in Orlando. And she started learning a type of modality. It's a manual therapy modality of using your hands, manual therapy. And she started using this modality with her patients, and it was very successful. And the reason why she left traditional healthcare is because the pain clinics she was working for told her she could no longer do them because they were too successful. And patients were canceling injections and doing other things that, of course, drive revenue into a pain clinic. But this kind of opened a whole new door for her, and she's been in private practice ever since. and she really is doing God's work. Mind, body, spirit is a real thing, and that's the type of work that she does. It's phenomenal, and I would say, she's got people that come from her from all over. She'll have people that have no resolution. They'll go to a doctor. They have chronic pain. They'll go to a doctor, or they'll go to the Mayo Clinic, or they'll run through batteries of tests, and if nothing comes up, they end up going to see her. And then a lot of people, it's a whole different topic, Joel, that we could talk about, but it's a fantastic modality. And she, as a private practitioner, really is moving away from traditional healthcare. And but that's a whole different discussion for a different time.
I totally agree. You still
Yep.
playing basketball?
Yeah, I just started playing again. The last year I've been in rehab basically. I started playing because I'm an alumni, Bishop Moore High School, played basketball at Valencia College in St. Augustine, and I've been involved with my alumni group in Bishop Moore for years. I got involved with them late last year, but I was having some issues with a foot in my left shoulder. It turns out I finally went to an orthopedic. Make a long story short, I had very old injuries from a long time ago. I had a broken foot, didn't even know about it. That scar tissue had built up around. And then I had a almost fully torn infraspinatus rotator cuff, 180 degrees of labral tears and loose bodies in my bicipial sheath. So that was kind of an eye opener for me. I was like, this is why I've been having so much trouble. But I've been doing non-surgical rehab, been rehabbing it myself along with modalities that my wife does. And knock on wood, I'm getting right back to where I was without any surgeries. So God is good. Yeah, God is good. I'm 50. I just turned 50. So
yeah,
congratulations.
Well, the show's called "You Can't Make This Shit Up," so I brought you on. David, this is Casselberry. See, you want to move to Casselberry because this is the kind of commission we have. So thank you very much, Mark, for being here. It's amazing what you guys are doing, and glad that you get an opportunity to tell the Central Florida where the best city is to live and grow your family.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks again for allowing me to come on to kind of toot our horns here in Casselberry. Yes. But yeah, again, I'm kind of biased. But if you are looking for a very affordable, safe community that's just within the greater Orlando area that is highly active, take a look at Casselberry. I think it's got everything you're looking for.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.